Hey guys, this is technically day 7. I know I'm like opening up with an explanation. Okay, let me explain. This is technically day 7, so I'm going to record 2 videos today because I did not record one yesterday. The reason being, drum roll, I was humaning. Look at that. Welcome to day 6, also day 7, but technically this is going to be the day 6 video because again I'm doing 2. I'm gonna get this one done now before I start my day, go out and work out and come back, and then later on I'm gonna zhuzh myself up and then come back for a day 7. That's the plan. Anyhow, so what happened yesterday? If you're doing this with me, you're gonna have off days. Yesterday was my off day. Yes, it totally was. Susie came into town and I wasn't feeling that great in the morning. So my morning was very slow. I didn't wake up at the normal time I wake up. I stayed in bed. I took care of myself. You know, I did a grounding meditation. I got my water pad, my heating bottle, and all the things that make going through this little phase every month a little bit better. And what was a self-care morning ended up being a self-care day because my friend told me about The Kings of Joburg being on Netflix and I totally binge watched it. Yeah. I could have totally gone for my walk yesterday, but by the time I looked up, it was 6:30 going towards 7 and pitch black outside. And I was like, ooh, well, there goes that. What I did not do was beat myself up for it. I am a firm believer that we are exactly where we are, doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing at every single moment of our lives. Even if it's something that we don't like or something that we feel like we shouldn't have done, it's that realization that pushes us towards what we should do instead, right? So doing something and you be like, you know what, I really don't want to do this. That very same thought creates another thought that says, I would rather be doing, so therefore pivot towards that. Yeah, if you haven't caught on already, I am a super fan of the works of Abraham Hicks. So like the law of attraction for me is something that I firmly believe in. Actually, I believe in all the 12 universal laws of the 12 universal laws. That was going to be so redundant. I was going to say the 12 universal laws of the universe. But yes, I'm a firm believer of the 12 universal laws. I think they apply in every single thing, in every single being that exists. But yeah, so I am very big on the law of attraction and all things energy, right? All things energy. I'm a heart-centered person. There's a time and place for logic. It serves its purpose, but for the most part, when I decide where to move and how to move, I trust this. I trust my heart. I trust my intuition, and then my instinct. You know, my instinct helps me navigate tricky situations. Yeah. So that was pretty much my day. What I want to talk about this morning is checking in, just based on my day. So, scusi. Throughout this process, if you have people that you're doing this with, you have accountability partners, that's great. You guys can all get on a call or text each other or whatever and check in on each other as you go through this process, right? But if you don't have anyone that you're doing this with and you're just kind of doing it by yourself, or really for life, period, checking in with ourselves is so important. And it's not something that a lot of people do or know how to do. So I am going to tell you how I check in and to hopefully spark some ideas for yourself on how you can check in with yourself. Meditation is a huge part of my life. I meditate daily for at least 20 minutes, like minimum 20 minutes per day. You will find me in a place of stillness and complete presence for a minimum of 20 minutes. And what meditation has taught me is how to be still, how to find comfort in my stillness, and also how to observe my thoughts. We are not what we think. Our brain is constantly processing information. So, and sometimes we say things to ourselves without even realizing that we're talking to ourselves. something that I learned throughout this lesson. I was like, what? You know? So in meditation, I'm able to be quiet, then I'm able to just observe. Like, oh, okay, fine. So this is what's going through my head today. And as I work to my place of stillness, when I'm practicing that kind of meditation, when I'm not like walking or anything, anyway, when I'm walking, I've learned to, when I do have a thought or a feeling come up, I unpack it. Like, why do I feel this way? You know, like, what prompted this? Where did this come from? Is it true for me? Yesterday's video, or rather the day before's video, was about critical thinking. So the previous video was about critical thinking, right? And sometimes when we have thoughts, they are based on deep-rooted belief systems that aren't necessarily our own, but because we grew up hearing certain things, or we are surrounded by people that say certain things and believe certain things, or we read material that points to a certain fact as truth, we now hold on to these beliefs, even though they're not necessarily our own. So yeah, that's, meditation helps me with that process. It's taught me how to observe my thoughts, and while I'm meditating, I'll choose stillness, but I'll make a note of the thought. And when I come out of meditation, I'll do the unpacking. Like, that was a very weird thought. Like, if something crosses my mind that I've never really thought about, I'm like, that was odd. I should come back to that later. But for now, I'm over exaggerating. I don't always chant. But yes. So meditation is a good way for you to start checking in with yourself, because oh, another thing about meditation that I don't know if a lot of, okay, I'm pretty sure other people have realized this fact, but I'm going to state it from my perspective of, oh my God, did you know? But I've come to realize that a lot of people don't know how they feel if it's not a reaction to something. Like, have you ever just sat in your body and said, hey, body, how do you feel right now? Like, what are the sensations that are going through you right now? I say this because I know that when I'm meditating, I know that I'm in deep meditation when my body goes numb. But I know that my body is numb because I can feel it go numb. And when I'm conscious and I'm like totally like awake and alert and looking about, it almost feels as though like there is like a pressure in my head that when I'm in deep meditation, that goes away. It's almost like everything just goes, like my body just decompresses. And then I'm in this awesome, yummy state where, yeah, I feel light as a feather. Meditation taught me that. So if you haven't started a meditation practice, I would strongly urge you to do one. I will do a video breaking down the different types of meditation. But the ones that you guys know for sure that I do right now is I do sit in stillness and I meditate for 20 minutes every day. And then I do my walks, which are like a walking meditation where I'm just fully present in my walk. And I allow spirit to talk to me. So another fun fact about meditation for me that I've discovered to be true is I believe that prayer is how we talk to God or the universe or to whoever you pray to. Prayer is how we talk to that higher being. But meditation allows us to be quiet enough to hear the response. Because the funny thing about human beings is we always think that when God talks to us, it's like, dude, this is what you should do. No, that's not how it works at all. Can you imagine how freaked out you would be if you were just sitting here minding your business, all of a sudden it's like, hey Greg. What? Greg, I'm sorry, I don't know who Greg is, but you, pal. You know? So no, when God talks back to you, it literally sounds like your own voice, but it comes from a different place. Doesn't come from here, it comes from here. And that will be another video all on its own too. Because your ego and your intuition literally sound the same. Did you know that? But those thoughts or those feelings are rooted from two very different places, you know? So when God talks back to you, we've all heard this, that God or the universe talks in whispers, right? And if you have a lot going on up here, are you going to hear the whisper? The answer is most likely nah, unless if you have like superpower hearing, or you have tuned into that voice well enough to recognize it when it comes up in your daily, everyday life. Signs and synchronicities are also, you know, a way that the universe communicates with us, right? So, meditation. Meditate to learn how to observe your thoughts. Don't dwell on them while you're meditating. Acknowledge them, put them to the side, and revisit them when you're done with your moment of stillness. And then 2, meditate to tune in with how your body actually feels when it's in a state of meditation. Because when you're sitting down and you're meditating, the idea is you're not in danger, you're not in pain. You know what I mean? Like you're not reacting to external forces or factors when you're in meditation. So in that moment where you just are, observe how your body feels. You'll be surprised. You'll generally be surprised. Check in on your physical body. Like, how does my body actually feel right now when I'm sitting here and I'm sitting in stillness and everything is quiet and I'm safe and I'm grounded and I feel like nothing is going to happen that, you know, can take me out of meditation, because that's the best time to meditate. And then go from your physical body to your emotional body. Like, okay, heart space. How are we doing here? You know, like, do I have any anxiety? If I am anxious, what am I anxious about? Wait for the response, make a note, and come back to when you get up. You know, and then mental space. Like, how are we doing with getting to stillness? And as you work towards that, you'll notice that when you first start meditating, your mind monkey, which is like the random thoughts that run across your mind and distract you from just being still, is very busy. But the more and the more you practice, so here's what happens. So the first time you meditate, right? Let's say you want to meditate for 20 minutes. You're probably going to have 5 minutes of perfect stillness with zero thoughts, maybe less. And that's fine. Seriously, that's okay. That's normal. That's totally normal. I just realized how close I was to the camera, so I'm like backing up a little bit. It's completely normal. So the first time you sit down to meditate, sit aside. Even if you want to start with 5 minutes, honestly, if you want to start with 5 minutes so you can just like nail those 5 minutes, yes, do it. I recommend starting with 20 and then watching yourself get better, because I like winning. I like winning. Not so much winning against other people, but I like seeing myself get better at things, right? That makes me feel good. So I want to start with a goal that I know is going to be challenging, but totally attainable. So you start with 20 minutes and then you sit down. Your mind monkey is going to run rampant. There are going to be plenty of times where you have to be like, okay, I love you. I appreciate this thought. We're going to come back to it later, and kind of guide yourself to stillness. The key here is don't yell at yourself. Don't be frustrated with yourself. Don't use force when going back to stillness. Just observe, allow it to pause. And if you have to talk yourself through it and guide yourself through it, that's fine. Be like, okay, I'm having this thought. I observe it. I'm allowing it to pause. I'm going back to stillness. You know, or you can take a more loving approach with yourself. Like, all right, self, I understand that you want to do this right now, but this is our meditation time. I love you. I appreciate you bringing this to my attention. We're going to come back to it when I'm done with meditation. Right? So you'll find yourself doing that a lot less as time goes by. So your first 20-minute meditation, you may actually sit in stillness for like 5 minutes, and the other 15 are you managing your mind monkey. And then, you know, as time goes on, you manage your mind monkey less and less and less, and your time in stillness grows more and more and more. And what do you know? You're sitting for 20 minutes in complete stillness. And at that point, you're now actually seated for like 25, because it takes a minute to kind of like adjust yourself and get into the right vibe and position to meditate. So yes, so checking in with yourself. Meditation for me is a huge one. When people ask me, how do I start my spiritual journey? Meditate. 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 Because everything that you want to know is already in here. You hold all the answers, but you have to be able to tap in to that infinite knowledge to access it. And the only way I have learned how to do that is through meditation. So meditation is huge. So yes, so that's checking in with yourself. Start with meditation. Journal. Meditation. We went through the meditation process. Different ways you can meditate, checking in with your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, your spiritual body. Second way that you can check in with yourself is by journaling. I used to journal daily. I'm not as diligent as I am, but I can tell you now that nothing is as awesome as me pulling up a journal from 2-3 years ago and observing my growth as a person, or seeing, this is actually my favorite. When I see that I understood certain concepts one way 5-10 years ago, and I have a much deeper and broader understanding of them now. This happens a lot with Facebook memories, because it'll post something that I posted like 10 years ago, you said, and I'm like, wow, that's still true, but now I understand this like this, So yes, journaling is a good way to check in with yourself. First, for the mental and emotional dump, because we depending on your life, depending on the structure of your life, you either have people that you can talk to that will pour into you, or you don't. If you don't, be that person for yourself. And the way that you can do that for yourself is by journaling. Journal, reflect, and plan. Right? So do the mental and emotional dump. Put it down for a second, go make some tea, come back, look at it and be like, okay, fine, this is how I feel. And unpack how you actually feel. The key here is learning how to feel without it having, text. I need to stop reacting to things like that. I'm getting used to it, sorry. So the key here is learning how to feel without it being a reaction to something that's happening. Right? Like, how do you feel? Like if somebody came to you and said, hey, so how do you feel? And the option to give the standard answer of, oh, I'm fine, was not an option. What would your response be? Like genuinely, what would your response be? All right, so yes, so journal. Journal is a good way to see how you are feeling, because you have now written it down, and now you have to like take it back in. It's like pouring out the contents of a cup to see what's in it, and then kind of like picking apart the contents. Sounds kind of gross when I put it like that, but you get the gist. And then number 3 is my favorite. I love doing body scans. Doing body scans. So we all know the 7 chakras, right? And we know that we are made of energy like everything else. And our bodies, and there's research that backs this up, our bodies hold on and store emotion as energy blockages in our body. Like you feel stress over here, you feel fear over here. I'll find a graphic that goes into detail about this, and I'll share it at some point. But doing a body scan for me is one of my favorite things to do. I don't do it often enough, but it's just fun to just sit there and literally sit and imagine a white light going from the top of my head and scanning my body slowly and just going down. And as the light hits certain parts of my body, I'm observing how I feel, and I'm bringing consciousness or conscious awareness to those areas of my body to just see where I have any blockages. And where I do have blockages, you know, I practice Reiki. I'm a master Reiki practitioner. So I'll do self Reiki on myself. So I'll do Reiki on myself just to kind of ease those energy blockages out. And people release energy in different ways. I burp. It's the funniest thing to watch. Yeah, and it's not even just like a kind of burp. It's like a it's so gross. It's so gross. It's so gross, but it's so necessary. So like whenever I experience those like deep belly belches, I'm like, yes, release. Welcome to my world. So those are the 3 ways that you can check in with yourself on a daily basis. Yes, checking in with ourselves should be a daily basis. A lot of us go through life on autopilot, and honestly, a life lived on autopilot is not a life lived at all. Because you're not aware. You're not self-aware. You're not really consciously aware of your surroundings. You know what's going on around you, but are you observing it from a lens where you're actually processing the information around you from your own lens, and not one that was slapped on you by your parents and the society you grew up in? Okay? So yes, check in with yourselves. That was a horrible voice. I don't know why I did that. But so today I invite you to take what I have shared and check in with yourself. Oh, with the body scan thing, even if you don't do Reiki, I'm gonna give you a quick tip. We all on the same page as far as us as in humans, our energy. We are all spiritual beings having a human experience. We need to be clear on that, or else this is not gonna apply. And the thing with energy work is that you have to have the intention, right? So I have the intention to heal my body and to release energy, or to release any energy blockages I feel in my body. You have to have the intention. You have to have the belief. If you don't believe that what you're doing is working, it's not gonna work. So you have to have the belief and the emotion behind it. I find it's a lot easier to function from a place of love and gratitude. You know, and most people would actually advise that you do that. Function from a place of love and gratitude for yourself. So I'm not doing this because, oh my God, it hurts. No, yes, does it hurt? True, it hurts. But I'm releasing this because I love myself, to want myself to be well. You know, and I'm grateful to the universe at large that I have the opportunity to make myself well. That's the space where I function from when I do these things. And I would implore you to do the same. All right. So you have to have the intention, have the belief, and then just do it. So you can sit there, do your body scan, see where you're tight. And if you practice yoga, you know what I'm talking about. Oftentimes we have our shoulders up and like you kind of have to like drop them. It may not be this dramatic. It's not going to be this dramatic. But like we carry a lot of tension in our shoulders that we're not even conscious of because we don't know how we feel. Until someone says, notice you have any tightness in your shoulders and just release it. And then you suddenly go, oh, wait, I was holding a lot of tension over there. You know? So do your body scan, see where you're holding any tension, see where you're tight. And if you want to give yourself like a little massage, like, you know, rub it out a little bit, tap on it. Tapping is a great energy releaser too. But if you want to just, you know, just rub, oh, that actually kind of feels good. Okay, neck. Okay. So if you want to like just give yourself a little massage in that area, just until it feels a little looser and it's not as tight. If you feel like whatever you're doing isn't helping you specifically, you can always book a massage therapy session, or don't sleep on visiting the chiropractor. Oh my God. Yeah. So, yes. So there we go. So, body scan. Imagine a white light scanning through your body. Anything it touches, you bring conscious awareness to. Like, let's say my light is over here. I'm going to be like, okay, my eyes, I'm not pinching them shut. They're just shut very gently. So there's no tension there. All right. There's no pain. As I'm looking at this, because I have the ring light in front of me, all I see is like a bright, it's like a bright red light. Like it's not dark, but it's dark with a hue of red. And like, if I pinch my eyes, I see little circles. Okay, cool. So my eyes are great. I'm not feeling anything there. I'm gonna scan some more. And let's say I had, which I actually do. So I have a little pain over here. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm gonna stretch my neck. You guys actually saw me massage my neck a little bit earlier. Okay, maybe I have a little tension in like my lower neck. Just kind of like rub on that until it starts to feel good. And this is like a physical tension that I feel, right? So I'm like, okay, rub it up, dub. Okay. I need to go see the chiropractor anyway. All right, and let's see, I keep scanning and I keep scanning. And then there's this weird sharp pain right here. I'm using this as an example. It's not actually real. But let's say there was a real sharp pain here the other day, but it was real. Right now it's not real though. So let's say there's like this weird sharp pain here, and when I focus on it, it invokes an emotion in me. Right? So I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, there's this weird sharp pain, and when I focus on it, I feel sadness. And I'm not sure why I feel sadness, but focusing on this pain makes me feel sad. This is where things can get interesting. Now, you're gonna sit here and take a deep breath. Hold it for 4 seconds, or for the count of 4, and just exhale slowly. You know, do that a couple of times and just make sure that you're grounded. People ground at different stages through this. If you want to ground before you start this process or ground afterwards, it's entirely up to you. But when it comes to this pain that I'm referring to, I always tend to ground again, just to make sure that I'm tapped in, you know. At that point, I'm going to imagine a bright white light just coming in here and filling all this hurt that I'm feeling in my chest that I can't pinpoint what it is, right? All I know is there's a sharp pain like right here in my shoulder, and when I focus on it, I feel the emotion of hurt comes up for me. So I'm going to take this bright light and I'm going to flood all of this with all the love that I can muster from within myself with the help of the universe or God, and just love on that little spot until it stops hurting. Now, through this process, you could find yourself crying, or if you're like me, you'll find yourself burping. But the point is that when you're doing this, you are addressing an energy blockage that was caused by trauma or hurt that your body stored. And by addressing it and massaging it with love, you know, you finally, it's like when something is hard and you kind of like rub it and it gets soft and soft and soft, and then eventually you're able to like Play away. So that's how the body scans work. That's how you can do one on yourself. And if you picked up on this, or if you didn't pick up on it, I'll actually make it clear. Our body feels things differently. You know, there's a sensation of okayness, which is what I was describing when I was going through my phase, right? Like, okay, everything's neutral over here. Everything's neutral, meaning, okay, there's nothing there. You know, I'm observing, I'm scanning, but there's nothing there. So that for me that's my neutral. This is how my face feels. Like, this whole part of me feels normally. And once I know how that feels, should I be in a situation where it changes, I'm able to recognize, hey, this isn't how I normally feel. What changed? And then when I got to my neck, it was more of a physical tension. You know, it's this, I was tight. I am actually tight around my neck area, and I need to address that. So there was a tightness that I needed to address. But when it came to this pain, it's not, I can't pinpoint to a muscle or a bone that hurts. But all I know was that I have this little sharp piece of hurt just kind of hanging out over here that I have to address. And that's how you address it. So again, in line with checking in how you feel, when you are doing these exercises, it's critical that you allow yourself to feel. As in, you allow yourself to feel and express how you feel. Not everything is love and light. Everything is love and light, but there's more to it. You know, so allow yourself to feel these emotions, and more importantly, when it's time for you to release. Whether that's crying, burping, hiccups, sneezing. These are all ways that your body expels stagnant energy that's been like sitting there once you finally address it. Now I feel like I should do a guided meditation at some point. Yes, I think I'm gonna do that. All right, it's been 33 minutes. I love y'all. I do try to keep these videos short. Today it was necessary. All right, I'll see you guys on the flip side. Have an amazing day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take a quick screenshot of this summary of the challenge, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any more updates. All right, see you around.